this is Mr. Tom Bailey, TV, radio, and broadcast teacher here at Northside High School. I'm joined by a couple of people. First is my co-host today, Daviana Folks.
Hello, I'm Daviana Folks.
And, of course, our varsity basketball coach, Coach Gary Andrews.
Thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you guys. Daviana has a question for you.
Okay, so how do you believe the season has started and how you think it's going?
Well, we really struggled at the start. We started off 0-5. We had some kids coming in from football with some injuries, probably like 3 or 4 guys that really weren't 100% yet. So we kind of had to toe that line where we get them in basketball shape, but try to let them heal their injuries. And so we weren't really ready to play like we wanted to early, and played some really good teams. And then we got on a roll, won like 8 out of 10, played some pretty good basketball. Tay had injured, so we've only played 1 game since. But I thought we had some stretches where we played really well. The Snyder game, and Snyder's a very talented team. They beat Homestead. I mean, we just blew them out, played really well. We probably haven't been as consistent as I was like, but, you know, it seems like we're always switching. Somebody's always missing. Somebody's always hurt. Somebody's always out for, a game. So we really haven't been able to get in a nice groove, having our whole team together, and that's kind of hurt us a little bit too.
Well, along those same lines, going back to the Snyder game, you guys really put them to sleep quickly on that. I mean, you guys had control from the beginning through the end. I watched that Canterbury game, and I saw the injury to Tay, which was very devastating, and his loss is kind of playing itself out. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you guys got to play, you're scheduled to play Northrop, and then that gets postponed. That disrupts your flow. Then you got to take on, Fletcher Lawyer and Homestead High School, and they're always well coached with Chris Johnson.
Right.
You got Concordia tonight. So what have been some of the difficulties that you faced, and what are you looking forward tonight when you actually take on Concordia?
Well, you talked about the Northrop being postponed, and to me it's been kind of a good thing because if we would have had to play them, we wouldn't have been able to practice much without Tay. But now we've been able to have some practices. Monday's game against Leo got canceled. We're going to try to find another game. But it's been kind of good for us to practice without Tay because everybody's kind of had to change their role a little bit. And I think it's probably going to help us. I thought against Homestead we played pretty well until the last minute or two of this first half, and they're a very good team. Second half we just got down early and it was kind of like a 15-point game most of the game until toward the end when we took some chances, put some young kids in, and Homestead kind of took it up to like 20, whatever, 4, 25, whatever they did. But we've had a pretty good week of practice. I think we still got some talent. I think we're still going to be able to beat some teams. It's not our margin of error goes from, when we have Tay, now it's like this much. Everybody's going to have to really feel their role and play hard and play as a team. But we still have enough talent to beat teams if we can come out focused and play as a team, and that's the big key we need to do.
Do y'all believe y'all could do better? Like, what is one of the things y'all think that you think you would want to change?
I think we got to become better defensively, and we need to get in a groove where, it's kind of going to be hard until Tay gets back, but we need to get in a groove where we have everybody consistently every night. It seems like all of a sudden, we go into a game, okay, so-and-so can't play. They're either injured or some stuff that they need to do a better job taking care of, and they miss some games, and that's hurt us, to get in a flow and get in a good groove. And, we need to be focused and take care of business on and off the court, and that's probably one of the biggest things we need to do.
Well, last night we live streamed the JV game, and we got a chance. One of the things as an outsider looking in, you have a lot of speed and a lot of quickness and a lot of guys that get a lot of minutes on JV. They really put in the time, and, I know that Coach Dowdell is really working with that group. So it was kind of fun to watch them do most of what they were supposed to do correctly last night. But we ended up seeing a new player that who's a junior who I guess he can't play varsity for you yet, but we're waiting on him. But he had a windmill dunk. What'd you think of that?
Well, Elijah Brown's very, very athletic. I mean, he started for Snyder last year, so he's really only playing JV because the IHSA says he can't play varsity yet. But we're hoping he has a hearing coming up next month, and we're hoping he can win that hearing and be able to play for us. And if not, he can play. If we would make it to regionals, he would be able to play. But he's very athletic and can jump out of the gym, plays hard, plays good defense. And, you talked about our young kids. Those young kids on JV really are the varsity bench right now. Mm-hmm. They've really been practicing with the varsity, the last month or so, and they're really starting to get better. And you're right, they're very quick, very athletic, and they're going to have to come through for us, these next 6, 7, 8 games, and even the rest of the year. Play. Some of them might be able to get some big minutes, some of them might play limited minutes, but they're going to have to come through for us if we want to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the development of Ivan Hood.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a Swiss Army knife for the team, plays that high post position a lot, does a lot of nice things with passing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Elijah, he reminds me, for anybody who's been around Northside basketball for a while, reminds me of like a combination of Nigel Jones and we had a guy named Levette who was raw athletic and could just do some things that you can't coach.
Right, yeah. Elijah's very athletic. He's going to, if he could get eligible, could really help us on the boards. And just his athleticism defensively. And, he can take the ball to the basket and score. So.
Well, and Jamari Pearson is also logging a lot of minutes for JV, too.
Jamari played really well last night.
Yeah.
He's going to dress tonight, so, against Concordia. So.
Well, he's a pleasure to have in class. So I just want to tell you that.
That's good to know. Okay? I like to hear the good comments about our kids in class, too. So it's always nice.
Well, moving forward after Concordia, what are some of the big games coming up, and then sectionals? What do you see happening for us?
Well, it's kind of nice. Next week, we don't play next week. So I say, so we're kind of changing things around. It really is going to kind of work out that, we really get to reinvent our team a little bit. And, then after that, we got Carroll a week from Tuesday at home. So, they're struggling a little bit, but they still have a lot of talent. It's still a big school. So, but we have them at home, and we think we can get them. And then we got, I think, Dwenger that Friday, and they just beat Blackhawk Christian. So Dwengers, they really got a lot of size. They got a lot of talent.
Yeah, they play hard. They get after it.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rough and tumble game last year against them, but you guys were able to pull it out.
Right, but I mean, they'll be physical, and it'll be at their place, so we know we probably won't get any calls, but we're going to have to just try to survive then and be ready for that. Then after that, we have them make up against Northrop on the following Tuesday, and then that Friday we play Lures, and then Saturday it's Kokomo, and then Mr. Klein and I are trying to find a game for that last week before sectional to take the place of the Leo game. We'd like to get a home game and
Is the Kokomo game home or away?
It's away.
Oh, are you going to play in that old gym?
Yeah, we did 2 years ago. So it's kind of nice to play there, but we're trying to find a game that last week, and we'd like to find a home game, and we're trying to play on that Thursday or Friday. And, we got some good news on Tay that we think he'll be back for the sectional, but he might even be back for that week before. So Mr. Klein and I would like to find a game that week, so he would have a game to play before the sectionals.
Yeah, well, and, playing at that Kokomo gym is a tough place to get a win. No matter how good you are and how good they are, that's just a tough place to play.
And they got an exchange student who's like 6'10", who had like 25 points, 20 rebounds against Northrop, who's just really, really good. So it'll be a tough challenge for us.
But it's always good to have those tough challenges before you hit the sectional.
It really is, because we got a tough sectional with Snyder, Northrop, DeKalb, East Noble. So, we got to be ready. So I think playing our tough competition is going to help us for the sectional.
Well, thank you for coming out tonight. I want to thank our student co-host today, Daviana Folks, and Coach Gary Andrews for coming up tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned to the Legendary Ledger. Hello and welcome to your Legendary Ledger. Our feature today actually is with the Media Center Specialist, Miss Dori Graham. Thank you for coming today.
It's my pleasure.
So this is your first year at Northside High School. What do you think so far?
It has been quite an adventure. I was originally a children's librarian, so working with high schoolers has been a wonderful but new experience.
So from your perspective, what are some of the commonalities with being a children's, specialist versus what you're doing right now?
One of the biggest differences is that I don't do story times, but one thing that I love about working with high schoolers that is comparable to working with children is just finding the right book for them. I consider it a treasure hunt, and that I'm in some ways a professional treasure hunter. So every time I get to break down what a student likes and what book meshes perfectly with them, that's my favorite part of the job.
So one of the things that we make an awful big deal about, or at least Mr. West and Mr. Hissong used to, is our circulation numbers. We usually crush the rest of the district in books and circulation. Is that still the case?
It is, from what I can tell. This past semester, we did over 9,500 circulations, which I think is very, very impressive. Granted, I have not done school setting previously, so I didn't have anything to compare it to until I started talking to some of the other library or media specialists around the district, and it's pretty high.
So you got a lot of classes coming and going out of there.
We definitely do.
So as far as the media center is concerned, what are some of the services that we currently offer that students might not know about?
One of the services that we offer right now that I've had a little bit of trouble making certain that students know about is Mackin Via, which is an app that they can reach through Clever that has ebooks galore. There is a librarian who is dedicated to curating that collection, and it's shared amongst all of the schools in Indiana that got a subscription to it. So we have access to any book not any book, but most of the books that you can find in our library, you can also find via Mackin Via on ebook. So if you have trouble returning things, if you want to read on your tablet, on your phone, on your computer, it's a great resource. Although you'll never have the same experience as when you're touching an actual book.
Well, that begs the question of that might be something that we could do a more concerted effort with, as far as like dedicating some class time to actually roll that out. And that's something, as the language arts department chair, I could probably swing that. So recently you had a bookmark design contest. Explain what went into the thinking behind that, and also what the results were and the like.
Yeah, so that was an idea that I got while brainstorming with Mrs. DeBailey, who's head of the PTSA, on how to celebrate Youth Reading Week or Teen Read Week, which happens in late October. We were late to the ball, and like I said, I used to work with children who were 12 and younger, so I was not aware of what week it was. But as we were deciding what we wanted to do in November and December, it was one of the ideas that I had, and so we used to do that at the Allen County Public Library every year, and I was like, hey, this would be a cool way. Bookmarks are incredibly popular here at Northside.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
I feel like they get collected almost like Pokemon cards. So I really wanted a way for our students to be able to contribute to that.
Okay. Well, that said, too, we obviously you're sitting here in the legendary ledger, and one of the ideas that we might want to do, or it could be its own thing, is maybe like book talk with students. And we'll talk more about that, but that might be something where we bring students on here, or you're the host of the segment and you talk with some of the students in the books that they've chosen. Because really, like, what we're trying to go toward is a more community-based show and not a Tom Bailey-based show. Like, we're trying to get more of that in there. So is there anything else that you'd like to add about the Media Center before we close this segment?
Yeah, as we head into April, it's National Poetry Month, so we'll be doing a poetry contest in April. I'm also in the process of putting together a fake news scavenger hunt that will be in the library, and you can do the hunt as a class, or you can do the hunt as an individual. It's just going to be some things that are hidden around the library that you have to figure out whether it is true or false. A reliable source or an unreliable source, trustworthy or not.
Not that we don't need that in this era, right? Well, thank you for coming out, Ms. Graham. And so that was our Media Center feature for the Legendary Ledger, and there's probably going to be some follow-up to that. Thank you for following along. Have a great rest of your day. Hello, this is Mr. Tom Bailey, TV and radio broadcast teacher here at Northside High School. I'm joined by my co-host, AJ Mullins.
Hi.
We are going to be doing more segments where we have more hosts. So, AJ, you're on the hot seat today. You get to ask some questions as part of our segment.
Yep.
I am joined today by two gifted musicians who play for the Wildsiders and for the marching band. To the right is Mr. Henri Spoelhof. And to the left is Ashton Morris. All right, so we've got some questions that we'd like for you to ask. You guys are Wildsiders.
So, Henri, what's it like playing in the Wildsiders?
It is a really enjoyable experience. The one thing I love about being in Wildsiders is that it's like a team of people working together, but to create art. And so it's not necessarily focused on like being better than other people all the time and just creating something with a group of people.
All right, and now, Ashton, same question for you.
I definitely have to say that it is an extremely enjoyable experience. It's different every year, which really makes it even more enjoyable because you have a new set of people like almost every year that have different creative, capabilities and ideas, and it really just helps you grow as a person. It's really nice to see how they make music, and as he said, you're not really trying to compete with, even though, we have competitions, we're all making art, and it's really beautiful to do that. It's a form of communication, which I love to do.
Well, and quickly, who were some of the people that mentored you when you first were in the Wildsiders?
Oh man, I definitely have to say Chris Hughes was one big one for me. He helped me a lot, and Kellen Baker as well was really helpful.
Henri?
And, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Israel and Kellen for sure.
So, what type of instruments do you guys play?
I play the bass, and the cool thing about playing the bass is that you have control over chords by playing the root, but you also have to groove and fit into what the drummer's doing. So it's like in the middle. So.
And same thing for you, Ashton?
I actually play the sax, the tenor sax, and it's a really great experience. I really enjoy playing tenor. It really speaks for me. And, sometimes, not everyone can have, is easily able to have a voice, but tenor is my voice.
Well, you mentioned that it's your voice, and, as it turns out, we have a video clip of you soloing, so we're going to show that example here shortly. Okay, and so those were some of the altitudinous solos of Ashton Morris on the saxophone. So with that said, Ashton, you have been in the Wildsiders for a long time. I've seen you play, and you go hard as a Wildsider. Your solos, it's just a lot of fun to watch. What has motivated you as a musician throughout all these years to push yourself harder, et cetera?
I definitely say something that's definitely motivated me is my younger brothers. They just, they have so much faith in me, and I just want to show them that, they're capable of anything if they really try hard. And, they've grown with me a lot as well, and it really helps me knowing that, they enjoy it and other people can enjoy my music as well.
Same thing for you, Henri. I know that you've had some experiences that have shaped your motivation as a musician.
Yeah, this is not necessarily a thing that's just for, it's more about my entire personality, but I was diagnosed with cancer in first grade, and before that, my personality tended to, probably as a lot of kids, but since I was so young, I wasn't,
Like maybe motivated.
yeah, I wasn't motivated, but I wasn't like, if there was something I couldn't do, then I didn't feel down about it, but I just didn't try more. But then in first grade, that experience was, I had to try and I had to get better. But then too, I was behind, and I always had a sense of being behind, and being behind is one of the most motivating things because you just want to be up.
So that drove you to put in the hours of practice and to catch up on your academic and other parts of your life accordingly, correct?
Yeah, and my influence of music really came from my brother, Garrett Spoelhof, and because he played piano. And then my parents were like, yo, bass players, there's like not a lot of them. They're always needed, so I just started playing the bass.
So you saw a role for yourself and a place to be.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and listen to an example of Henri's playing here for a few seconds, and then we'll be right back.
All right, Henri, what are you looking forward to in the Wildsiders?
This year, as every year, I'm looking forward to seeing just what we can do together, and how we can create art, and seeing people from other schools, seeing what they do.
All right, Ashton?
I gotta say I'm definitely looking forward to Ball State, and I'm also looking forward to just being able to create music with my friends. It's a really beautiful thing, and seeing just multiple ideas and concepts just blend together to make something bigger than yourself is amazing on its own.
Well, Ashton, you mentioned too, when you go to competitions, you get to see other musicians. What's that like for you two that are really excellent?
I gotta say it's really just awakening, because you realize that other people have different ideas than you and concepts than you, and it really just allows you to understand other people's perspectives in a way that you just couldn't perceive without meeting them and hearing them. So I gotta say it's a really amazing experience.
Henri, any closing thoughts?
I'm just looking forward to everything, creating music again.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank my guests, Ashton, Henri, and of course my co-host today, AJ.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Bailey.
Yeah, this has been kind of fun. You guys did a great job. These are two very talented musicians, and I have a very talented co-host, and we're going to continue to build on this program. We're trying to be like the Wildsiders. We got a long ways to go. But if you get a chance, come to Evening of Jazz. That's in February here coming up. And we've been following it on our newscast. Please follow the Wildsiders. Please contribute to the band. Come to any of the concerts that they put on. They are practicing hard, because I walk down that band hallway every day after school when they have practice, and it's going to sound really neat. So check us out, and we're going to be on the Northside High School Legends YouTube channel. Have a great rest of this legendary ledger.